Basim is hitting the streets of Baghdad. In AC Mirage, you'll steal, kill, and stealth your way through the order as you uncover the underbelly of the city. During my time with the game, there are several mistakes that I made and some tips that I found out across the way. So today we're going to go through all of that. Let's go! Let me know in the comments what other content you'd like to see for AC Mirage. So firstly, pickpocketing is actually worth it. And not just the ones that give you treasures, just pickpocketing the random people you see on the street. So initially, I didn't think this was worth it, as you just kind of get junk items that you can then go to a trader and sell for like coins, which, you know, sounds all right. But what I actually noticed is occasionally when you pickpocket these random people, you'll get tokens, and tokens are a big part of the game for a number of reasons. And there are three different types of tokens. The first is scholar tokens, and these can be used in certain missions to bribe information out of people. Some NPCs will also accept scholar tokens as a currency, but we'll talk about that later. And then occasionally you can use them to distract guards by giving them to a musician, and they will then play music to pull the guards over to them. Power tokens can be given to mercenaries to have the mercenaries fight guards to distract them, or you can give it to a crier in the town to remove your notoriety to get rid of your wanted level. You'll probably use the power tokens a little bit more than the scholar tokens. I found I didn't really use the scholar tokens until much later in the game. The merchant tokens, however, you'll use these much more than the others, and they're definitely the most valuable. So just like the scholar tokens, you can use them in missions to bribe information out of people. You can also give them to traders to make their prices cheaper, and this is across the board. It's not just the trader you give it to. It will affect all the traders once you have actually given these tokens to one of the traders, and you can continue to give them tokens to make those prices even cheaper. Sometimes as well, you'll find merchants that you can give a token to and walk with them into restricted areas, like pretending to be a merchant. So all the tokens have their use, and they definitely help, especially for main missions, as there are a ton of areas that you essentially have to get into via some method, and having these tokens is really helpful to give you alternatives to get into places, as well as get information out of people, which can then tell you about different ways to do things. Very important to have these tokens, and you can get heaps of them just by farming them off the different people you find out in the world. You can actually make pickpocketing easier as well with the pickpocket master skill. This will increase the window for success, which is, you know, fine for normal pickpocketing anyway. It's not actually that bad, but it's actually really amazing for the different treasures that you can get. So there are these collectibles that you have to pickpocket off people. It makes that window much bigger, and without the perk, it is a tiny window, and it's very hard to hit. Or alternatively, like if you don't want to do that either, you can actually use your blow dart to put the targets to sleep, and then just walk over there and take the item off them, as you'll skip the mini game. As you loot chests and complete contracts, you'll gain leather and steel and components that can be used to upgrade your weapons, your outfit, and your tools. I highly recommend that you spend those materials on upgrading your tools. For one thing, you can stealth kill every enemy in the game except one specific type, which is that one type that comes out when your wanted level is maxed. Every other enemy, as long as you're in stealth, you can actually assassinate them without having to worry about it. So there's no point in upgrading those weapons, as you don't need that extra damage that it comes from unless you're dealing in upfront sword versus sword. Now, while there are chests that contain new outfits and weapons and the upgrade schematics that you'll find throughout the world, you can definitely upgrade them. Like, don't get me wrong, if you want to do that, you can, but I highly recommend you upgrade your tools first for a number of reasons. Tool upgrades can make significant improvements to your tools, much more improvements than, say, just increasing weapon damage by a couple of points. These tool upgrades can completely change the way that the tool actually works, like, say, turning your noisemaker into an incendiary bomb, or, say, adding poison damage to your knives, or any other benefits. Like, all the different tools, all 6 of them have unique effects that you can get by upgrading them. And in order to upgrade them, you do need the leather, the steel, and the components. Now, the components is the hard one to get. It takes a little bit longer. You get components mostly from doing contracts, or you can actually buy components from vendors as well if you do need a little bit extra. But upgrading those tools first is definitely the first thing you should do, and then consider looking at, say, outfits or weapon upgrades if you do choose. You'll also get skill points as you progress through AC Mirage, and these skill points can be spent in 3 different skill trees, from the Trickster, the Phantom, and the Predator. Now, I have a full video breaking down skill points and, you know, which ones you should get first, but some general quick tips here to grab. You should grab the extra tool capacity from the Trickster line. These will allow you to have all of the tools, which we've already briefly touched on why tools are so important, so we don't need to go further into that. In the Phantom line, chain assassination is amazing because you can chain your assassination assassinations together. If you have throwing knives as well, you can take out a target and then throw a knife to instantly take out another target. It's actually really good as well. In the Phantom line as well, I would also be grabbing the Assassin's Focus capacity upgrades, because this skill is actually insanely fun and just makes so many encounters so much better. So the more Assassin's Focus you have, the more targets you can instantly kill. And you can use this on any target and you can chain them all together. So if there are a bunch of enemies that are all grouped up together, you can, if you've got enough Assassin's Focus capacity, you can chain all of these together and take all of them out at once. It is highly useful and highly effective. Highly recommend grabbing those perks. And the Predator line, there isn't heaps of interesting perks in this line, but Emergency Aim I found to be really useful for stealth scenarios, just to quickly snap to a target and take them out with a throwing knife. I found that to be pretty useful, but there are plenty of skills and I'll save the rest for that dedicated video. But if you're looking for more skill points, then you should be doing contracts. So contracts will give you skill points. They'll also give you materials, which we touched on, but there are 4 boroughs throughout the city. And as you progress through the game, the others will unlock, like all 4 of them. But these contracts will come from the contracts board. And anytime you are at a borough, you should accept all the contracts, as they'll only show on your map once you have accepted them. There's no limit to how many you can accept. You can accept them all. And then when you're near them, it'll give you a little pop-up to say they're nearby, or you could actually just see them on the map and go and do them when you do want to. They have optional objectives as well, which can give you additional benefits, but essentially as long as you're completing these to get, say, the skill points, which is the main reason that I would do them, then you'll be able to upgrade yourself much more quickly. Same for the materials, right? To be able to upgrade your tools or even upgrade your outfits and weapons if you wanted to go that route. Now, the more contracts you complete, the more will actually become available to you. I didn't realize this until I'd actually finished the main story and I had a couple of contracts left, and then as I finished those, more actually appeared for me to do. So the more you do, the more will appear, so the more skill points you'll be able to get, so you can get all of the skills or complete all of the different upgrades that you do want to get throughout your playtime. And next we have a couple of teeny tiny little things that aren't really good enough for their own section, but just some things that I came across.
What is this?
A center for ants?
Firstly, you should be trying to engage in stealth in like every single scenario. The straight up combat isn't really the focus for Basim, and if you do go into straight up combat, you should be using the parry system mostly and dodging away from attacks rather than just trying to fight straight up. By parrying attacks, you can break down their stamina to be able to instantly kill them, or instead of doing any of these methods, you could say drop a smoke bomb on the ground to hide in the smoke and assassinate them from that, or drop traps on the ground, which can be used during combat as well to knock enemies down and defeat them that way. But using these tools rather than straight up fighting is typically the best route to go. Anytime you are near a synchronization viewpoint, you should absolutely climb up there and do it, because these are your fast travel points which you can use. You can also fast travel to any of the Assassin's bureaus that you have discovered as well, so you can quickly go back there if you need to upgrade or even just check the contract board for new contracts. There is an NPC in the round city that will sell you maps for any of the collectibles that you may be missing. What these maps will do is actually mark the collectible locations when you're in that area. They won't show on the map. You'll have to go specifically to that region and then bring up Enkidu, and then they will be able to locate them. You can mark it, go over there and grab them. The wanted system is a massive part of Assassin's Creed Mirage, and the enemies will absolutely come hunting for you when you are at that 3rd high threshold. So the first threshold isn't really that bad. You'll notice like an extra presence of guards just like generally around the area. Civilians will sometimes recognize you and be like, hey, that's the bad guy from the posters, and then the guards will, obviously try and come and get you. The second threshold's a little bit annoying because there'll be archers on the rooftops, and if you're anything like me and you want to climb the rooftops all the time, this can be annoying because you'll run into them. The third threshold, however, is the one you should absolutely avoid. So this will summon like the elite guards, which will hunt you down relentlessly. They cannot be one shot with assassination. They're the only ones that you'll have to actually use like a proper stealth attack with. So that's when it gets a little bit annoying. So these guys you're better off, say, running away from or avoiding in various methods. But the way you get rid of your notoriety system is either from those criers that you can give to completely remove your notoriety system by giving them a power token, or by removing the wanted signs that you see around. So occasionally you'll see Basim's wanted posters around. You can remove these and it will remove one tier of that wanted system. But that is everything that I have for you guys today. Let me know your thoughts and any tips that I've missed in the comments down below. Thank you guys for watching this video till the end. Thank you to our members for supporting the channel. My name is Norza, and I hope you have a great day.